Hello guys, welcome back to Geeking Out. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm dressed like this. Well, the reason being is that I have had the immense privilege to be part of a game that for the past 12 years of my life has really been an amazing journey. And I'm talking about the live-action role-playing organization called Amtgard. Now, you know, it's probably easier if I just show you. See, in a nutshell, that's what we do. In most cases, it's different for everybody. I have always seen Amtgard as a way to express myself, to be somebody else, and have it be in an environment that's welcoming, that is open to new ideas. And I'll tell you what, guys, the people that I have met playing Amtgard have been some of the best people I have met in my entire life. I have got friends for life. I guarantee you right now, if I go west down Interstate 80 and I tell anybody I need a place to crash, I have one. I want to hang out with these people. You know, it's any time that I am with a group of Amtgardians is always a good time. So how did I get into this game? Well, I was living in Nevada for a short time with my mother. My dad was doing flight training in Florida. I took my half of my senior year of high school and 2 summers in Nevada, and in Carson City specifically. And not only did I pick up Warhammer there, I also picked up Amtgard. I was in one of the local gaming shops, and this man walks in, and he's handing out flyers for this live-action role-playing group that he's with. And I ask him, I says, what's this all about? He takes me out to his truck. And Yamish, thank you so much for this, because that first hit that you gave me was like, it was like adrenaline. I was like, okay, I need more of this. I think this is amazing. He showed me his stuff, he showed me all the swords that he had, and he takes me out to his truck, opens up his truck. It's like the back of his truck is just like this massive arsenal of stuff. We're talking polearms, axes, swords, everything. And he hits me with one of these weapons. And I think to myself, first instant is, that kind of hurt. And then I was like, it's not hurting anymore, and that is a lot of fun. I think this would be a great time. He asked me how old I was. I told him I was 18, and he said, all right, show up at this park at this time. We'll sign out the waiver and everything you need, and we'll get you going. So I show up to the park, this beautiful park there in Carson City called Mills Park, and I sign out my waiver and everything, and I look through the rule book that he hands me, the holy tome of Amtgard, the Amtgard rulebook. And I say, all right, first thing I thought of, wizard. I have to be a wizard. So the first real major game day, I had showed up on a fighter's practice, so it was just run back and forth on the field, show people new fighting techniques, learn how to fight. But on Sundays is when they actually went full game days. This is where the full glory of Amtgard comes out. Now, we do stuff that are called like fighters practices. We'll do just no class fighting, stuff like that. But the coolest stuff is when we get to use full class battle games. Now, hold on a second, I'm getting ahead of myself. Amtgard started in Texas around in the mid-'80s by a group of people sitting around a table playing Dungeons & Dragons. And they said, why are we sitting here rolling dice? We could be living this. This could be something that we could do and have it be amazing. And that is the genesis of the lands to the south we call the Burning Lands. And the Burning Lands form the quorum of the law of Amtgard. They figure out the rules, everything, but they get input from the other kingdoms of Amtgard that have spread all over the country. They also have gone to Alaska. I know of a couple of parks, one in Japan, there's a couple in Germany. We're all over the place. And they sparked this amazing game. And I became a part of that because of my good friend Yamish. And Rich, I'm going to thank you again, man, because I wouldn't be standing here doing this if it wasn't for you. So, anyway, I got to play my first class battle game as a wizard. And I was holding magic spell balls. I was throwing fireballs and lightning bolts, and I was casting magic at people and whatnot. Now, to an outside observer, this looks like I'm throwing foam-padded fabric-covered balls at people and pointing at them and shouting nonsense. That's what this looks like. But in the players' minds, it becomes reality for just a short amount of time. And then when it's done, we go off the field. We had a drink, we hang out. And the coolest thing about it was that the community of Amtgard, it wasn't just about the game. It wasn't just about this silly thing that we do on the weekends where we hit people with foam-padded sticks and shout gibberish at each other. It was about this community of people. So I leave Nevada. I go to college with my lady, and I decide, all right, let's get it going here. I want to make this happen here in my home. So I gather up some friends, some of the just a few swords that I had, and we started playing in the hallways of our dormitory. Just back and forth fighting once in a while, and then it kind of exploded. I was able to get a handful of people in, word started spreading around, my other members started grabbing other people, and before you knew it, the Shire of Truevale was born. And I couldn't believe the amount of enthusiasm there was for this, because I remember one day looking at our sign-in sheet, and every day everyone has to sign in on these sheets. We had 42 people, 42 geeky people out in a park, a public place, dressed in silly garb, throwing spell bolts and hitting each other with foam swords. 42 of us! It was incredible. And that is what this game is about, guys. It's not the sum of its parts. It's about that community. I keep going back to that because I really do want to impress upon you that. Because when we were at the college, there was only a handful of us. And we were using any facilities we'd get our hands on. We'd be out in the front, out in the back of the college. We'd be in the mat rooms, the auxiliary wrestling rooms during winter. And there wasn't a lot we could do in there because it was really small, and like a lot of the stuff, like we couldn't do archery, or we couldn't do arrows and stuff because it was just such a small space. But then we decided, all right, we're going to take this out to a park. We're going to go and have a good time. And one of the things that the college did was called Free Day. And it's all like because we got ourselves sanctioned as a club at the college, so we were allowed to participate in Free Day. So we got ourselves one of the rooms, and we started doing demos for people, showing them how the game works. And we gained several solid members out of that. But the coolest thing that ever happened is that a small contingent of people from the park in Utah called the River's End. Fitz, thank you again. This was one of the coolest things I had ever seen, guys. Fitz, his wife Ember, several others came up, and they trolled us bad. This is the best part. We knew they were there. Then one of their members came in full Mundania, signed one of our waivers and said, yeah, sure, I'd love to try this out, I'd love to fight. And he face rolled the entire room. He was jumping around, doing all this fancy stuff. Oh yeah, it was one of the other guys from River's End. I believe his name was Bishop. And after that, we spent this glorious game day with the River's Enders. And they said, come up to our event. Salt Wars, come out and see us in Utah. Let's get together and let's make this happen. Let's have a good time together. Okay, so how does this game work? Well, the idea behind it is that can we take pencil and paper role-playing off of the table, off of that sheet of paper, away from those dice? How would you do it? So, in its essence, it is about safe foam padded combat, which are these swords here. Now, this is made out of graphite golf club shaft. This is actually a broken golf club. This is the only time broken golf clubs are a good thing. But covered in this beautiful material called Fun Noodle. Now, the tech has gotten a lot better over the past few years. Flat blades, foam, and foam dipped with rubber spray and stuff like that. Things have gotten a lot better, but at its essence, it is a lightweight core, not metal or wood. It is a foam cover over cloth cover over a foam padded shaft. It's a real simple weapon. They're really soft. They strike true, but they don't hurt. They don't bruise. They don't leave behind very many red marks. So is a purely safe weapon to be swinging around at other people. The pommels, of course, have to be covered and protected from. The tips here at the top also have to be covered so you can thrust and stab. The biggest innovation, I think, was when we went to lightweight weaponry. At the beginning, my first swords were 3/4, half-inch PVC pipe covered in camping pad, which is really maybe about a half-inch thick blue foam padding that you would roll out underneath the sleeping bag. Now, that stuff covered in duct tape. That was old school Amtgard tech. The swords were heavy. They hit a ton, and I remember leaving a couple of days with my shins all just bruised up because those weapons were just so heavy. And I'm just so glad that we went to, at least our kingdom, went to lighter weaponry, because it reduces people getting hurt. It creates a lot more fun. I believe Fitz said it best that I'm out here to play, and if everybody gets broken, I can't play anymore. So it's a really good way to look at it. Now, the other half of it, just the combat. Usually we get a split in Amtgard. We call we call them stick jocks and flurbs. Now, I gladly am a flurb. What does a flurb mean? Well, it's someone who likes to step into court in full regalia and say, "Yes, I'm a master wizard. Who's going to deal with me?" Sword jocks are like, I don't like full class games. I just like to swing stick. They devote themselves to the art of Amtgard combat, and it is amazing to watch. It is very fast paced. It is very quick. You have to be quick on your feet, and it's gorgeous to watch. A lot of people have earned knighthoods because of that. They're called sword knights, and that's the other half of the combat, is the flirtiness of it. Role-playing, the magic, full-class games, and that's where I love to be. That is full-class games with magic. This is a fireball. Yes, it's a foam ball covered in red fabric. Stay with me. This is a fireball. That's another fireball. This is a lightning bolt. This is my favorite thing of all time. This is a sphere of annihilation. Anything this touches, good night. And the other thing you get are enchantments. Now, a lot of times my magic is verbal. I'll point at someone and say, I command thee to stop 3 times without moving my feet, and I do have to buy an upgrade to cast with my right hand. But I say, I command thee to stop 3 times, and they're rooted in place for 150 seconds. You can also do enchantments, which are signified by yellow strips. You tie them to the person. You say protection from projectiles, protection from magic, just a 1-point protection. So anything that hits me, 1 point. I say the sphere of annihilation hits me. Well, that one's gone, and that's it for that. Now, most times when you're building magic, you just go out of the rule book. You say, all right, I am level 6. I have so many points to spend on magic. Each magic spell costs so many points. and you just go off of that. The rest of the time, though, if you're playing a fighting class, it's just whatever weapons you're allowed to have as a fighting class. You do get some special abilities, like say warriors, whatever armor they wear, you get +1 point to it or something like that. Now I know the rules are going to be changing soon, and it's been a while since I've played, so just bear with me. But stuff like that, and it's all about the combat and your other classes and whatnot, so it's just straight out of an RPG. Now, another thing that's really cool about Amtgard is because we are so much about the imagination of it and the fantasy aspects of it, is that we've been able to do some really unique things. Like, you see this banner here on the back wall. This was made by one of our members back when we were still a principality, and we had a huge reign that was based on Lord of the Rings, because the movies were just gearing up. I think Return of the King had just come out, and we decided we were going to do a whole themed reign for the kingdom on Lord of the Rings. True was Rohan, hence the horse. So I've kept that since then, but it's just one of those things. It was just so fantastic. And we did the battle for Minas Tirith, so we had this huge mob of monsters trying to come up onto this place. And I gotta tell you what, guys, one of the coolest places to hold Amtgard is this place. This is called Castle Park. It is in Provo, Utah. Now, you may have seen a couple of other YouTubers use this place. If you look up Lindsay Stomp, Lindsay Sterling's channel, she did a couple episodes. She shot a couple of her music videos there, and places like that. But for 4 glorious days out of the summer, it's invaded by us. And we have so much fun fighting up and down that causeway. There's a huge amphitheater there. There's a great place up top where we can camp. And it's awesome to get immersed in that world for a couple of days. And that's a big event we call Salt Wars. And there's several other big events throughout the year. You have, well, at least in our region, you have Rakkus that the Iron Mountains puts on. They're our neighboring kingdom. And then we also have Dragonblade Wars, which is a second event that's put on by our kingdom in Elko, in Nevada. And that's just some of the funnest stuff ever, and it is just amazing. Well, my garb currently consists of this overcoat, called a slough coat, built by my amazing wife. She's really talented with a sewing machine. I wish she would do more, but she created this based off of Neo's coat from The Matrix, but it's quite long. It goes down to about my leg here, and it flows really nice. It's light, but it really creates that wizard persona. The other piece of it is my belt here. I created this belt myself when I got into leatherworking. It was one of the first things I did. It's really simple, honestly, but it was just dyeing the leather, getting the rivets into it. I do have a small leatherworking kit thanks to my man-at-arms, Ryan. He bought that for me for Christmas one year. I did my symbols here on the belt itself. The other pieces I have are the sword frog. We handed these out during one of the Salt War events. Our park symbol, now this used to represent the badge of office for our park. Excuse me, I'll get this. This used to represent the badge of office for our park, but we since have a crown and whatnot for that. But I held on to this. The park wanted me to have it because it was just my thing. It was just a iron-on Trueveil star on a piece of sewn fabric, but I hang on to it. I keep a small pouch on my belt for my spell list, for little odds and ends I might need, and then of course my my Kingdom belt favor here. This is the Kingdom of Desert Winds. To show you something else, a good friend of mine made this, one of my company mates from the Dragonblade Mercenaries, Nidlap, thank you again. I love this tunic, it's amazing. He did the Final Fantasy White Mage triangles on it. The company colors are silver and purple and black. And then on my back, I have my dragon. This is the dragon that is representative of the Dragonblade Mercenaries, and mine has a flame around it because I'm a fire mage. I usually have chucking fireballs, so that's why I have my tunic the way it is. But the other thing that was really nice is that when I was asked to join, that's the other thing about these communities. We have fighting companies, we have households. And as such, I was asked to join the Dragon Blade Mercenaries by a good friend, Rico. If you're watching this, man, thank you again. This is his belt favor. At a Salt War, I went down to this particular Salt Wars by myself. It was a very lonely time, and I spent a lot of time helping out in the kitchen, hanging out with anybody I could, because I'm generally a gregarious person, and I like to be with people. So he gave me his belt favor and asked if I wanted to join them, and I said yes. It was really touching, and thank you guys. I know I haven't seen many of you in the last year or so, but I'm still thinking about you. See you on Facebook all the time. It's great to know you're still out there. But there it is, the great game of Amtgard. What more can I say? I mean, this is something that I think anybody can get into. I have seen so many walks of life come into Amtgard. Everybody from businessmen to construction workers, to guys who do home improvements, to a guy selling paint. There it is. Amtgard, one of the geekiest things I have ever done and probably will ever do. Here's to more, and huzzah to this amazing game. Thank you for joining me, guys. We'll see you next time on Geeking Out.